Hey guys, Tom here, Permaculture Wilmington. I wanted to share with you something that's very exciting today. I had a visitor come by from Wilmington Mushroom Company, and he dropped off a whole truckload of mycelium bags. So these are substrate bags that he's been using to grow and sell mushrooms, and he dropped off a whole truckload. Fungal dominated hardwood. All right, this is ideal for growing trees. So what I'm getting is basically somebody giving me for free something that I can really benefit from and grow a lot of food from, and is nutrition for years. Like, I don't, now that I've got all these bags and he's going to be bringing more, I don't have to buy fertilizer, I don't have to make compost, because the bags, the substrate, the mushrooms on the sawdust is the compost. It's being composted in the bag. You see what I'm saying? So the enzymes are being created, the relationships are being created. It's dominated by fungal already. So this is fungal dominated soil that I'm getting, and somebody's giving to me because they consider it to be waste. You see what I'm saying? This is just a shift in our understanding that needs to happen, because these relationships are what grow plants, not fertilizers, guys. It's the relationships, the organics and the organisms. All right, so let me show you this real quick. This is awesome. See how many he dropped off. All right, this is one pile. This is just one pile. All right, and I mean, there's a lot of different species in here, a lot of lion's mane, a lot of oyster mushrooms, and there's just a lot of mushrooms, guys. I'm very, very excited. A lot of brick caps. So you guys can see this is pile number 2. It is a lot of plastic, guys. It's a lot of plastic, but I'm going to tell you, I'm going to recycle that plastic. I'm going to make sure it goes somewhere where it can get recycled. But you can see more brick caps coming out. There's some lion's mane coming out. These bags, lion's mane over here, these bags have only been used to fruit 1 or 2 mushroom flushes at a time here. And then he disposes of them, because if you're selling the mushrooms, the bags can't be contaminated. All right, now let me show you what that means. So contaminated bags are ones like this. You see, let's see here if I can get it in the light so you can see it. So bags that have green on them. All right, green is trichoderma generally, not always, but so trichoderma is a predator fungus that eats other myceliums, and it is the nemesis of people who grow mushrooms. It is the one thing, the bane of our existence, because it gets into the bags and then it just destroys the mycelium, and it won't fruit anymore because it's being attacked. So ones like this, you can see that is contamination that got into that hole from the interstitial space that was created after I pulled the flush out, after it flushed through that little hole right there. I broke it off, and then that interstitial space around the hole was enough to let bacterium in. So that is either, it could be trichoderma, I think it is, but it may be something else. There's no way of really telling unless we get it under a microscope, which I could do, but I just haven't taken the time. So this is basically what we're looking at here, guys. Is that's one that you can't really sell from, because there's a potential, they say right now, that you can get sick from other spores being on there. And I can see that if somebody is not exposed to this kind of stuff, if they don't eat, you know, a lot of these kind of foods that have a lot of microbes in them, like the garden foods that we eat, the organic gardens that are grown, or organic vegetables that are grown without pesticides, and you know, they have really good fungal and bacteria relationships in them. And you know, it's just a really good, healthy system of living is to eat fresh vegetables and fresh greens in general, fresh fruits. But if you don't eat a lot of that stuff, then your immune system might not get exposed to the bad guys as well as the good guys. And we need the exposure to the bad guys in order to build up our immunity. So, you know, there's a transition happening right now in our health industry in terms of our understanding of these things. But I'm going to tell you, I've been eating mushrooms for years now that I've been growing. And the bags are fine. When the mushrooms fruit, as long, see the way that they fruit, they stack their cells, putting one cell in front of the other. So as long as you're not getting the green or the contamination on the mycelium itself when you're cutting it to eat it, then we don't really have to worry about it so much. And also, if we cook it, we kill the organisms. So always cook your mushrooms. Definitely always cook your mushrooms. And if we cook them, then there's really nothing to worry about, to be honest. But I mean, I'm in microbiology school, guys. So you know, until I get my degree, I don't want to say things that people can hold to me as being 100% valid, because these are things I'm learning. This is not something that I know to be true in terms of being a scientist with a PhD. So I'm just learning these. But you can see a lot of the bags that I've been growing over here, these are the ones that I pulled out of my fruiting chamber to put the other ones in. A lot of them have a good bit of contamination in them. But my understanding and the way that I choose to live my life is that I look at nature for guidance. And when I pull the bark back on a tree that has mushrooms that I'm going to be eating, I see multiple organisms. So I see this, what you're seeing underneath the plastic here, underneath the bark of a tree. So I see this as being 100% natural. And this is just how mycelium grows on a tree. It grows with relationships. Organisms don't grow by themselves. You know, everything in life has relationships of other organisms around it to benefit or to harm one or the other. But there's always this balance. There's always this consortium of good guys working together and bad guys trying to fight them. You know, and that's just nature for us, guys. We got to understand that it's not nature is not a monoculture system. Nature is a polyculture system. Multiple organisms in a growing space. So that's what I'm dealing with today. But we have these, that pile that you saw, and plus the other pile. And I mean, that's what I'm doing today, guys. I'm actually going to be loading a lot of these that are not contaminated into the grow room, and I'm just going to keep growing them, especially the lion's mane. And then the rest of these I'm going to be composting and turning into a fungal dominated substrate for growing fruit trees that we've been planting in our food forest in Bolivia, North Carolina. So we're not planting here anymore because we're trying to sell the house as soon as something becomes available. I know you guys are probably getting annoyed at me keep saying that we're moving and we're not doing things because we're moving. But bear with us, guys, because we have just a couple more weeks, hopefully, and the house is ready to go. We just can't find a house for sale. It turns out that COVID situation made everybody want to leave the cities and move to less populated areas to get away from the populations of people that could have COVID. So right now is the worst time to be looking for what we're doing, because everything all the property that is substantial, that has acreage, has all been bought up and culled through. So what we're seeing is the culled through remaining houses that really aren't worth what they're asking, unfortunately. And there's not a lot of property available, and the property that is available has a trailer on it usually and is like an hour and a half outside of the city. So in order to get jobs to supplement while we're growing in our new space and getting our food forest set up so that we can actually make money off of it, we're going to need to work somewhere else in the meantime. So there's a couple complications that have come up, unfortunately, but you know, we're working through it, and we're just making it happen, guys. We're putting one foot in front of the other, and we're staying positive as much as possible. So that's where we're at, guys. Just bringing it to you. Tom, Permaculture Wilmington. Hope you guys are having a great day. Later.